Hi, I'm Pattu from FreeFinCal, and that's right, these 5 index funds which I'm going to show you have actually bet their respective indices, and here's why you should avoid them. So I was trying to make a list of all Sensex and Nifty index funds, the direct plans, and I wanted to check if there's any correlation between the returns that they have produced over the last year and the expense ratios. I wanted to check if lower expense ratio actually means a higher return or a return that's closer to the index return. So I have actually shortlisted all of them here, and I then found out that the Nifty 50 had given a return of 6.93% in the last year. So let me just write that down. And I sorted the index funds. So these are all the Sensex and the Nifty index funds. The Sensex will have a return that's pretty close to the Nifty. So this 6.93 is the 1 year trailing return. That is from February 6th, 2019 to February 6th, 2018. And typically the Sensex and the Nifty returns will be very close to one another. So there's not much difference between a Nifty index fund and a Sensex index fund. I have a video on this. You can have a look at that. So I sorted the returns in descending order, and I was shocked to find some Tata index fund has given 9.4%, HDFC index fund 9.14%, Reliance index fund 9.06, 9.06, ICICI Sensex fund 8.56, LIC Sensex 8.48, Taurus Nifty 7.85, and there's one more Tata index Nifty fund which is almost close, which is 6.92 funds. The rest of the funds are reasonably okay. They're lesser than the index. See, the first thing is that because of expenses, even if the fund manager is able to replicate the portfolio of Nifty or Sensex exactly, there will always be some difference in the return. The index fund return will always be lower than the return of the total returns index or the corresponding index. This is like almost like a 3% difference or 2.5% difference. Tata index Sensex fund is 9.4%, whereas Nifty has given just 6.93 in the same period. This is atrociously a huge difference. Now, out of these, only HDFC index fund can be excused because HDFC had two funds. One is called the HDFC Sensex plan and the HDFC Sensex Plus plan. The Sensex Plus plan was kind of it was mostly a passive fund, but it had got a little active component in it. So because of the SEBI regulations, they had merged the Sensex plan with the Sensex Plus plan with the Sensex plan. So that is the reason why this HDFC fund has a little higher return, because that alpha comes from that active management. That you can excuse. There's no problem there. So that forget about that yellow line. But the other guys, these 5 funds, Tata, Reliance, ICICI, LIC, Taurus, even this Tata Index Nifty plan, which is 6.92, I suspect is also pretty close, although just a little less, but I think it's not exactly equal to the expense ratio and so on. So there's a problem with these 5 funds. They bet the index. How can an index fund beat the corresponding index? That's just not possible. The reason why that's happening is if you look at the AUM, forget about this HDFC index fund, that's the outlier. It's anyway, that is due to a merger, it has got a higher return. Don't worry about that. So the Tata index fund 9 crores, Reliance index fund 12 crores, ICICI Sensex 10 crores, LIC Sensex 20 crores, Taurus Nifty 7 crores, Tata index Nifty fund, that's about 14 crores. All of them are low AUM. The rest of the funds, look at these guys. The rest of them which have got less than the Nifty, with the exception of this LIC mutual fund Nifty plan, which is 23 crores, all of them have decent AUM, at least more than 100 crores AUM. So the main problem, I think, is that because of the low AUM and because of either a sudden inflow or a sudden outflow, redemptions or investment, there has been a difference in the weights of the funds portfolio and the Sensex portfolio or the Nifty portfolio. There's a significant difference in the weights. Usually there will be a difference in the weights because if you say, for example, let us say HDFC Bank stock. Let's say HDFC Bank stock is present, has an exposure of 5.65% in the Nifty. As an example. You cannot exactly keep 5.65% in your fund. There will always be a rounding of error. There will always be fluctuations because of inflows and outflows. So that's the tracking error. But the tracking error is so huge that it has led to actually an excess return. And that's probably because there's some there's some individual stock which has got overweight or lesser or underweight, that it has given a different return compared to the Sensex or the Nifty. So when you look for an index funds, don't just go by expense ratio. I mean, low expense ratio does not always mean it's a good fund. For example, the startup fund has a low expense ratio. That does not make it a good fund. You should always look at whether the fund has sometimes bet the index. And the index fund has bet the index. If that is the case, avoid that. So as a thumb rule, it's better to avoid low AUM index funds. So that's important to understand. Now, among these funds, which are kind of normal funds, if I plot this section, so let's plot it and find out. This is what I originally wanted to actually, find out. So let's find out. So let's plot. So on the x-axis is the expense ratio, on the y-axis is the return. So higher the expense ratio, lower the return. There's one exception here, but that's okay. Generally, higher the expense ratio, lower the return. That's okay. That's intuitive. Thankfully, there are no exceptions. It's to counter this idea. That's good. So it's better to go for a fund with lower expense ratio, but the AUM also should be significant. I think the higher the better. But so at least 200 crores, 300 crores AUM is a good idea. So in this, if you are looking for so many people have asked me how to choose a Nifty fund or a Sensex fund. So just go with the highest one. Just go with the UTI Nifty index fund. That's got the highest. That's got 1,000 crores. Just go with that. That's safe. Always better, because if the sudden changes in AUM, spikes or inflows or outflows, the fund manager will still be able to manage it. And there will be momentarily there may be a difference. If you compare it over weeks and time, there may be a difference in returns. But the fund manager should be able to quickly reverse it and bring it back and reduce the tracking error. So that has not happened with these 5 index funds. So avoid them. Avoid any low AUM index fund. ETF as well. ETF has got different problems with those price nav tracking errors. So that's a different problem. In this case, this is just the fund manager's duty to handle it. And so please avoid these index funds. Among these Nifty and Sensex, you can just go with the one with the highest AUM. Don't look at the expense ratio. Just go with the one with the highest AUM. Preferably that should be at least 500, 600 or more crores. At least in this space, there is one with 1,000 crore AUM. So that's what I want to say in this video. I'll catch you again. Now, bye bye.